quiet desperation, I pulled the words aside to cover up the violence that blurred my aching mind. And gazing through the portholes, deafened by the noise, I spoke into the ocean. I'm waiting for a voice. The moon began the passage, the waves crept to the shore. The children left their shelters and gave up less for more.
Hello everyone, Adrienne here. So I'm really sorry to say that it has taken me such a long time to make this video, but I've just been super behind on content just in general. I feel awful about it. I've literally been working 50 hours a week for several weeks. It's pretty insane. I wish I was able to make this video sooner, but I hope you enjoy it nonetheless. So before I get started, I'd love to let you know that the legendary 90s goth band Diva Destruction has created their own official YouTube channel. If you love their music, please go support them by subscribing and listening to their music from their channel. That really helps. You have no idea. That really helps them with earning revenue that they deserve. So if you haven't heard them yet, please go check them out. I will leave a link for this in the description below. So Ashton Nyte has released his first solo album in many years, and it is titled Waiting for a Voice, and that is incredibly symbolic. Accompanying this album is a book of the same title, which Ashton was kind enough to actually send to me, both of them. Thank you so much. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. I actually got really emotional when I saw that Ashton had included my name among the acknowledgments in the back of the book. Like, there were tears, man. There were such tears. So many tears. So let's start with the album. Like I said, this is his first solo album in many years, just as Chasm was the first album by The Awakening to be released in many years as well. So Ashton's solo work tends to be far more acoustic focused, and it feels more personal and intimate than the power, romance, and more goth rock vibe that The Awakening provides. While this album is definitely no exception to Ashton Nyte's brand as a solo artist, there really is something incredibly special about Waiting for a Voice. So I had the pleasure of doing a listening session with Ashton and a few other people via Skype before the album was actually released. It was wonderful to even virtually interact with Ashton Nyte, a man that I am blessed and extremely fortunate enough to call a friend. I will say it's also an incredible honor to be on the same album as him. It made all of the heartbreaking times that I had missed his appearances and performances in Seattle for many years worth it. It was beautiful, mesmerizing, meditative, introspective, soft, atmospheric, and absolutely incredible. Keep in mind, I prefer Ashton's work as The Awakening to his solo works, but a few of his solo works are definitely close to my heart. So when I say that I overwhelmingly enjoyed this album in particular, it is from that bias. I'm really glad that I had really good eyeshadow primer that day when I was there for the listening session, because I was indeed in tears from it being so touching and raw. With Waiting for a Voice, there was definitely more of an emphasis on orchestral elements than electronic ones. Not that I mind, of course. And while I loved the entire album, a few songs definitely stick out, though choosing favorites was very difficult. So I loved the title track, I loved Ocean Song, Dark Star, and Icicles. The most notable that really inspired the most amount of tears from my eyeballs was his cover of Heroes. It absolutely does not matter how many times I've heard it. I lose my shit and cry every single time. It's not only from how beautifully Ashton sings it, but also how it evokes such deep nostalgia with a song by the beloved and revered David Bowie. And David Bowie was one of the many artists that I listened to when I was growing up, before I actually like transitioned into the goth subculture. I will take just a little bit of time to talk about this one in particular. I liked the softer, more mystical approach to this song, and when Ashton initially mentioned doing a cover of the song, I wondered how he would handle the tenor range with his baritone bass voice, since in the era of his career that David Bowie made this song, he was considered a tenor. Later on, as he got older, it kind of transitioned to like tenor baritone. Ashton handled it with amazing control, expressiveness, and support to a breathtaking degree. There really is something special about this one in particular. It is definitely worth a listen. I really don't want to go too much into detail for fear that if I were to do an in-depth description of each and every single track, that I would be extremely repetitious, because a lot of these tracks do feature a lot of the same instrumentation, and I find myself at a loss for describing this album in a way that would do it justice. You really just need to experience it for yourself. It's perfect for sitting on my balcony with a hot cup of black French roasted coffee in the misty gray overcast mornings here on the island as autumn approaches. Nothing short of heavenly. When you live in a beautiful place where autumn begins to arrive in late August, it's magical. It really is. As for the book, again, I'm at a loss to describe it accurately in a way that will do it justice. I will say, as Ashton's music is, it's very personal, intimate, and incredibly raw. It was like sitting down and listening to a friend telling you their innermost thoughts, stories, and pouring their heart out. There was one moment that Ashton relayed from his childhood that really resonated with me, because I had unfortunately experienced that myself several times in my life. It was kind of heartbreaking. I could really feel his pain with how he was describing it. Absolutely. I'm okay, I promise. Again, if you get this album, you absolutely will not be disappointed. So, I sincerely hope you enjoyed this video. It was a little bit emotional for me, and a little shorter than I was anticipating it would be, but that's fine. I really just wanted to get the word out there and share my thoughts. I will be leaving all of Ashton Nyte's relevant links to his website and his social media in the description below. Again, please do not forget to check out the link for Diva Destruction's YouTube channel, subscribe, and show your support for another amazing musician that deserves it. And huge thanks to all of my patrons, including my most recent patron, Lynn Doyle. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. I'm so sorry. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you for joining my legion of, I guess, small legion of patrons. I appreciate it. So subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Make sure you hit that bell for notifications. I love you guys. You're amazing. And I will see you guys later. Bye.
As though nothing could fall.